Hi everyone, today is May 13th. Let's get started. I'll start with 4 hours BTC and then we'll zoom out and see what it's trying to do. Okay, so little recap just to set a context here, and then we'll focus on the present and then potential move for this week and next week, right? That's what we'll do. Okay, so to start with, let me just mute everyone. So this was a deadly drop, we know, then a recovery, quick bounce, and then another attempt, then another drop, no new low. This was okay, then another attempt, and then we had this kind of a ceiling in a way that this was kind of a heavy resistance, and I had to label this because unless it breaks above this level, we cannot expect higher level, because this was a heavy resistance looking at the behavior. And this kind of strategy or understanding is important because there can be some fluctuation in price action, and there could be good bounce as well, as we saw here. But it's important that what is really required for the next level. And so we don't get excited unnecessarily. And the same time, the support is needed, or support zone is needed, to understand that, okay, we need not have to be panic or worried. Now, as I explained in last week, supports can be different at different levels, and everybody has to decide what level is good for me, which I explained in last week's video, so we'll skip that part. So this drop, I would say this whole entire drop, we don't know the fundamentals. There were many other fundamentals, like some firms were short and they were Genesis related stuff, and some news that we heard that, negative news basically would be the factors why crypto or BTC went down. As far as macroeconomic fundamentals are concerned, they were better, except on Friday, where the DXY pumped, which we'll see anyways. But for the beginning of the week, for this move, it was totally surprising. If you look at NASDAQ, even, which is the very important for us because it has tech stocks, it went up. It improved in the beginning of the week, but BTC went down. So we know that US stock market are coupled, but not each and every move, as we know. But especially NASDAQ and BTC were kind of decoupled for 2-3 weeks, not just one day. We'll see on a higher time frame what I mean. So that is a bit different. And I would say the Bitcoins or crypto fundamentals were playing some role in recent drop. Then, so that's more about fundamentals and relationship with respect to the stock market and other macroeconomic factors. On Friday, DXY went up, as we know, which we'll see anyways, and that was also putting pressure on crypto and BTC in general. So there were some factors. If we have to list them down, there could be many other factors, but these were the factors. Now, technically speaking, this was the condition or requirement which was not fulfilled, and then there were multiple attempts. So when you have this with the low, this drop makes this low, another drop makes this low, and as you could see, there was nice progress, but then you could simply draw this kind of a line for reference, and just to get an idea, you know that it's not perfect, but just to get an idea that what it's trying to do. And then somewhere here we can say now it is weakening, not doing something good. That kind of assessment makes sense. By the way, I turn on one of the newly written indicators called compass. It is being tested. We'll see. So I just turned it on and see how it works. Right. So yeah, so this was the level from a trend line point of view where we can say it didn't well, it started weakening. Let me draw a line again. And then it broke down, came near to this support level, and then bounce, and then this trend line becomes active role. You may draw a horizontal line as well, like this one, if you want, somewhere, roughly speaking again. And sometimes you have to refer the closing price, not just wicks, highs, lows, right? As I explained in the line chart, like this. So you see the rejection here, right? Anyway, so this was an attempt, a good attempt, and then the failure, but a quick recovery in for these 4 hours, but not for long, and then another drop. This was a breach for a moment, but not really quite close below. So we can say this support actually held up, and right now we saw good, we're seeing good bounce here, but you know what I mean, that this is just a good bounce, but it requires much more, because now it has to break above this level, which is like a zone, so to speak. So we can say can it close above this support, which is now resistance, which makes sense, because here it was support. You see the support zone, right? So this whole entire zone, approximately this zone, becomes a good support, or I mean now good resistance. So the price has reached it, or came close to this support zone, which is now resistance. And so it has to break up above this layer, so to speak. So if we draw another box just for visual representation, which could be like covering this low and this low, this becomes a range. So this was a reaction to this support and bounced off this support, we can say. And now it is kind of consolidating here. So at this stage, what we could say is this particular move is still in progress, right? If you trace it, it's zigzag, right, in a way. So let me turn it down, attempt, down, attempt, down, attempt. This is where we are. So it doesn't mean that it will make new low unless it closes below this. This is how I would interpret, right? And so if it could consolidate here and make another move. So on a lower time frame, like 4 hours, what we would like to see is to break above 28,500. If that happens, then we can say, so in a way, I can bring down this required level to 28,500, roughly speaking. But I'm not touching this. I would keep it. I would keep it for now. But if I had to be more aggressive, this is more conservative at this moment. It was not conservative when it was here, but this is more conservative. If I could change this and bring down to 28,500, roughly speaking. So that is our required level for it. But I'm going to keep it that way because we had multiple attempts. It is better to keep this level. So I'm not going to touch it. So what we're seeing here is an attempt like other two attempts, but this is a stronger attempt, technically speaking. And some consolidation and another move on the upside will change the game. So this is 4 hours at a lower time frame. Let's zoom out and go and check 12 hours. 12 hours gives more visibility, where we can say, if you look at this low, which is like a double bottom from a candle's low point of view, right? Roughly speaking, yeah. So we can say at this moment that this structure is still, like whole entire structure, we can say this is consolidation zone. Why not? Like whole entire thing is a resistance zone, like this, and it makes sense. So it began from here, noise, upside move, drop, another, no, like this is noisy part, and a drop, but not quite. So this whole entire structure is like a crown which is intact, right? It's a kind of a dome. Now this could be like a structure, if at all, if this structure could collapse, if it comes down and breaks below this. So it's very important that it doesn't come, returns back to this zone. 25,000 plus zone is critical. 26,000 to 25, this range, 26,000 to, I would say 26,400 range is so important. That's our heavy support zone, on the whole entire strip, we can say, between I think these two area we can cover. So roughly speaking, 26K to 27K is a heavy support zone. Why? Because it is actually holding up this whole entire structure, right? And as I said, if it breaks above, that's a good news. And if it closes above this level and touches 28,500 or higher, then that would be an indication that it wants to go up. Okay, that's my interpretation of this recent or this local consolidation zone. We can look at one day. So yesterday I shared fractals. So it's very interesting academic point of view. Those who are very interested in TA, that see the fractals are everywhere. Fractals are nothing but the repeating patterns, similar patterns. So patterns repeat it itself. The fractals are observed in nature. Those fractals are more like a parent-child relationship, where and not like a growing fractals. Sometimes they grow, they are growing fractals, not always the infinite fractals, parent-child. Like for example, seashell is a fractal. Like you see circular loops, and there are many other examples, like flowers. Sunflower has fractals, the middle portion, and there are many other natural biological stuff that have fractals. Cloud has fractals. Only thing is the equation is not symmetrical. The shape is asymmetrical. That's the thing. Otherwise, everything, all the irregular shapes in nature has fractals. So this is what we learn in our computer science subject when I was doing computer engineering. That was one of the subjects, computer graphics, animation, where we learn that one simple expression will end up generating water-like shape. So this is also great contribution from those mathematicians who decoded the nature. So basically, nature is full of fractals. So you can study and Google about it, search about it, that how fractals are everywhere. So the shape of the cloud or the water, fire, whatever you say, see in nature as fractals. And fractals are observed in chart as well. So those TA who are able to find out fractals, what benefit they get is they get the next step, because this is not like descending triangle, ascending triangle, head and shoulder. These are not patterns like that. And this is very tricky one. Okay. And you would notice, like when you see clouds, you sometimes see, oh, that's an elephant. Oh, that's a bird, something like that. So there's abstraction. There are abstract forms or images in your brain of nature, and then we can, even in the irregular shape, we can relate those known elements or objects. So similarly, when you look at the chart, it's irregular shape, right? However, with experience and more observation, deeper observation, you start extracting shapes. That's my experience. And this is an example. Now, so if you compare this one, you could compare with this move and so on. This dip is this dip and this higher. Only different deviation is it made new high. In this one, there is no new high. So fractals are not like a photocopy, uh, but you get the endpoints and kind of shape like this one. So it went up, and then 1 2 3, like went down, it went up, and 1 2 3 4, it could be 3 step 4 steps, but you get the gist, you get the idea. And then you measure, um, and then you kind of come up. So it's a little tricky sometimes, because measurement is tricky and I cannot share how I do. If you try to do with trend line, it doesn't give you that, because little deviation. So if you do this one, this hits perfectly fine, but if you hit this one, you had to draw from here. So it's little different structure wise. Origin is here. In this case its origin is here. So that's the difference. The angle is also different, but because it's not a photocopy, as I said. So you need more experience and research, which I think everybody is encouraged to do, to reach to that level, in my opinion. Okay, so this structure is more like a dome structure, which I mentioned, um, is intact. So there is no issue. Um, in the worst case, just in case it goes mad, still we can draw this trend line, and in that case, this drop could extend and hit this one. Okay, this is a possibility. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but you know that there are in between supports, so it doesn't go overnight like this. And we have a huge support here, and another support that I have added at 24,950. And if those supports are broken, then only this is possible. Having said this, even that happens, it doesn't change the recovery trend. In my opinion, 22,700, which I measured yesterday, is very important, which I marked with critical support 1, because there can be one more support. So I would not say the trend breaks only if this low is broken. So there can be in between, even this is broken. That's why I labeled 1. So even if this is broken, I'm just purposefully extending my thoughts on downside. Then also the trend doesn't break. So this is for those who are focusing on trend. So this low has to be broken for this trend to be killed. Okay, but this trend line that I have drawn is important, which is around 22,000 to 23 range. That is like this is like high alert kind of a situation, and real risk with the trend. And but then there is some tolerance. But yeah, so this is just for education and awareness. At this moment, it's sitting here. There's absolutely no sign of this scenario, right? But it's always good to know. So I'm going to remove this because at this moment, this is not happening. Okay. But at least you know it. What else? On one day, that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. Because Compass did well, reasonably did well. It gives us good here there's a big down, but not bad. Okay. So we'll switch to weekly. Let's look at weekly on. So we have okay, we have these three zones and we are going to track with respect to these zones. So it's still in the within the green zone. 25,000 is the boundary. And warning from the weekly trend point of view is only if it enters or breaks below 25K or closes below, to be precise, not just a candle break, but closing, weekly close. Then we can say then this trend, showing weakness. This drop is like this drop, in my opinion, right? So it could recover and actually ends up with a large candle. Like we can put this together like this, and it could really go up like crazy, like this, something like this. This is the path that we are now weighing. So probability of this is still 60-70%. The probability of going down is 30-40%. Anything less than 50 is not a concern. So around 70% probability of this one. Yeah, I would say 70% makes sense. And it breaks above 31,500, then we can say 90%. It is never 100%. It can be close to 100%, but the numbers are not important here. What is important is it is closer to 90%, is it closer to 50% or below 50%? That's this broader range is important. So if I'm saying the probability of this to continue on the upside is 70%, that means it's still healthy. And somewhere here it gets 90 plus. Okay, and of course, if this breaks below, then we can say 50-50 chance, because then it would come under warning. And of course, if it progresses, then breakdown probability changes to 70%. And if it reaches to this level, then breakdown probability increases to 90%. Right? So this is like a barometer or thermometer, very simple strategy to assess the trend or health of the trend. So this is like healthy zone. This is like sneezing, coughing, little fever, and this is like this is like real problem, like hospitalization kind of a thing. Yeah, so that's the red zone. So absolutely no issue at this level. Okay, that's weekly. Where is my comparison? I'll hide the drawing. And so I posted this one a couple of days ago, and I would like to show this, that this was the first major attempt, remember, beautifully depicted. Probably I don't have to explain it, you got it. There was a crossover here and a good attempt, but a failed one. And then there was a second attempt and pushed back, you know, like three weekly candles, but closed above this support or trend, you may say. Perfect. and then it offered us this one. So this was the announcement that I'm going for the second attempt. Remember, this was the top. This was the first leg down. And this was the first real attempt. This was the second leg down. Then this whole entire thing was consolidation. This was out of, this is FTX stuff. Okay, so we can simply ignore it because this consolidation and this was a waste of time. And this was the compensation of FTX. So you can say this move actually negated what FTX did to us. Okay, so we can simply say this was something unwarranted or unwanted, uh, which is part of the game. We cannot ignore it, but it was only short-term stuff. It was not this particular plot of the play was not part of the script. That kind of a thing. Okay, so it could have what we saw from here, it would have done from here. Anyway, so this was the first attempt retest, and then it could have, this wave would have progressed from here, but now it shifted by this many weeks. So that's how I interpret. Okay, so we lost few weeks in this anyways. And so, and this was the confirmation. It closed above the ceiling or the resistance, which had rejected here. And trend point of view, this was the real confirmation from this indicator point of view that it wants to go up. And this one is more like a retest. And there is some room which actually aligns pretty well with 25K. Remember, range that we saw. You see, green zone, perfect. With this high or rejection point, it's perfectly aligned. So I love this. And it also means that this level is so important, right? 24,900 or 25K is so important for us. So that's an early warning sign. And this indicator is also indicating that, which is amazing. Okay. This will be given to M Club once I see it's mature enough, but I don't want to throw so many. We already have very good indicators. So sometimes too many indicators also spoil, like too many cooks spoil, you know, what is the expression? I'm not good at it. So, but you got it. So that's how it is. So this is a newly one. So I wanted to just see how it works and show you. I love this one. So I thought it's a good idea to bring it up. So this move is more of a retest. Okay. That's totally acceptable. Okay. But breaking below this 25K is not acceptable or not something we would like to see. Right. Okay. So what next? So what is important that you see that here it broke below and we see crossover. Similarly, this bending and crossing over on the upside. So likewise, this was the rejection, and we can say this is secondary confirmation. The first confirmation that it settled above this, made this whole entire zone, green zone, out of this red one, and then retest, and then this crossover is confirmation. So in this one, when it completed the green zone, entered into red zone, we can say it's a beginning of the downtrend. And this is more like a confirmation of downtrend when it crossed over. Similarly, we can say this is a recovery, this is a recovery phase, but once it breaks above, then from this indicator point of view, this is the confirmation of uptrend. I'm a little more conservative, so I would like to see it break about this, and then I would call. But from this indicator point of view, If it starts moving up and then breaks above, this crossover happens, then the uptrend or the bull run begins, which is fine to me. Okay, so I'm sure you get the idea on BTC. So we saw 4 hours, 12 hours, 1 day, 1 week. We can look at monthly quickly. Okay, this is beautiful as well. It is beautiful. Do I have to explain? I don't think so. It was at monthly resistance. So this thing is coming down. So the monthly trend, so monthly trend, downtrend began here when it broke down. And this is an attempt on a monthly trend. Remember, like, let me go back quickly to show you with compared to weekly. Remember, first the 1 day trend changes to green or up or bull trend, then higher. So as it progresses, the higher time frame trend changes. Okay. Remember, so and then when it progresses, so you see the breakdown happen here, and then confirmation happen here similarly, and then continuation. But from a monthly point of view is delayed, or it's delayed. So here it break, and it's pretty late, of course, because it's monthly. Monthly are cycles, beyond cycle. It's like sometimes pretty longer, like multi-year trend it represents. And from this indicator point of view, remember, if you take any other indicator, then the picture could be different. If you take 200 moving average, it could be different. If you take 100 moving average, it could be different. So it all depends on what you choose. So if I with respect to this indicator and setup that I have, the recent high was monthly resistance zone. What it means that if it breaks above this, then this thing will cross over and turns into green, and then we can say that okay, it broke down, but now it's going to recover from that, and then it resumes and starts with another leg on the upside. So if we consider this level, which is around 33,800, and if we round up, then it becomes 34K, which is our next resistance zone on our Binance chart. 33K range, 34K range, kind of a range, which is the next level. So 31K is the recent rejection level, and the next level is 33K, 34K. And when I said I'm more conservative, so I'm tracking more at a monthly, and that's why. So for me, closing above 34K plus would give me relief in a way that it is going for new high. So that's my rationale or justification on technical grounds. Okay. So as I said, everybody has different measurement techniques, point of view. Somebody said this is a bull run, and I have different opinion, and I'm sharing why I have different opinion, because I would track at a monthly for me to call out new all-time high. So this is a potential reversal for sure, but I would like to see closing about 34K. That will be the kind of a final nail on a coffin. Probably this expression was better. Sometimes I could recall. Anyways, so I hope this will help. So monthly point of view, it has one more level to be broken. So it's good, but deal is not done yet. The final nail is still to be nailed. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But there is no need to panic because it's here, not somewhere here, not like 25K below. So that's why one nice push on the upside would change. Okay. And that's so we are coming close, right? We are almost there. And we'll be tracking so nobody, but from education point of view, because my focus is education on what is really happening, sharing my view, my opinion, right? And that's the whole purpose of this weekly call and trend analysis. Now let's look at the weekly DXY. Weekly DXY. So this was amazing upside move and cracked the BTC, and then an attempt, a failed attempt. So this was a breakdown and then rejection, remember, and then another drop. But you see what is happening is it's consolidating. So it didn't break below, and our red arrow is below the support. It didn't break below. So last week we had tough time with BTC and crypto in general is because of this guy. And of course, a couple of other fundamentals, negative news that we heard within crypto world. But yeah, from a macroeconomic point of view, this one, interestingly speaking, this didn't hurt NASDAQ much, which was very surprising. NASDAQ was pretty resilient, pretty strong. It really didn't go down. I mean, it was unaffected with this DXY move, which surprised me a lot, which was but very positive in a way. Primarily, it could be because of Apple's news and some other news like good results from tech companies, in my opinion, and also an assumption that the Fed will pause, which is another topic. My opinion on that one, I'll talk about that, but let's complete this DXY. So this attempt, this move is amazing. When you look at this green candle, it's amazing and threatening, but it's part of the game. It's not going to go down in like a straight line or back to back. See, it had so many red candles, so one green candle is fine. Okay, what is really is not acceptable is breaking above 104.7, which is amazing, which is here. Yeah, which is, and then 104.7, the yellow that you see, and this cyan color 100. This is the range we don't want it to break above, because if it does, then it is this, we can say this is double bottom, and in that case it would go for the recent all-time high, and then BTC will have high probability of breakdown in that case if that happens. So there is a range. This is like more like watermark to me, right? So this is more like water up to your knee level, not even below knee level, okay, or knee level, let's say. So this water level is more like chest level. Then it's not good. I hope that helps. So I try to simplify, right? So of course there's water level, but we don't get scared, right? Depends on your nature though. Some people are afraid of water, so they would not even put, but then swimming is not for them, right? That means the trading is not for them. If somebody is getting scared with knee level water, right, is not supposed to swim, not fit for swimming, right? Nothing wrong. It's just nature. Similarly, this kind of a move is more like a knee level water. And if somebody is scared with this one, we can say that person is not fit for trading. Again, which is fine. That person might be good at something else, but not for trading. Makes sense, right? Okay, so this DXY is clear. Let's look at bond yields, which like edge case. This is like edge case, surviving. but more weakening. It's weakening. We can say it was like green, red zone, green zone, like mix of it, consolidating. This was strong, all green, strong. Then introduced the red one, mix of green, red, indicating there was attempt, but still, and then red zone. So this is like entered into red zones, which is indicating not a big red zone. It's more narrower. So you can say it's more like a crossover thing. And so, beginning of the weakness. So this was the first sign that it's weakening. And this is indication that there's no green zone here. So this is more like further confirmation that this is indicating breakdown. Hope it makes sense, right? Like when it was here, it was indicating it might go down, but then it recovered. The uptrend began from here. This was end of the downtrend, as you could see, and the beginning. This was a potential breakdown level. It survived. Not quite developed the big red zone. But this one was nice clean uptrend. But now again, this is like potential breakdown level. So once it goes below 3 level, then you will see that the red zone or downtrend establishing here. More the confirmation. So this is second indication. This was first indication, but just a hint. This is the real first indication that this is new breakdown. But it has to go and break close below this low, and it should come down, I think break down below 3. That's a real confirmation in my point of view for this, the US Treasury bond yields. And yields go up when there is panic, because remember in the present, the Treasury in the present, Treasury is the safest asset. It means if you invest, you'll get back your money. That's why the money market funds are flourishing. People are earning interest 4-5%, and that's what happens. Bond crashes, new bond comes with higher yields. That's why old bond crashes. Very interesting market. Okay, now, so this is bond yield. So I would end this session where I covered Bitcoin, pretty detailed one. DXY, we saw dollar index, bond yields, and at different time frame, right? And I shared my view. I hope you find this session very helpful, and we'll move on to the next one.